All right, so we're going to continue on with part 65. Part 65 of our Every Man's Battle study. This is from Fred, learning the right mental processing. Probably all of us can think of an example from high school where our minds got lost in our attractions. I had one in high school. Her name was Judy. I noticed her early in my senior year. When Judy was a junior, you talk about hitting attraction buttons. I was carried away into a land of silly dreaminess. Whenever I thought about her, I thought about what I would say and how we would love each other and where we would go. My mind filling in billions of blanks. I knew nothing about Judy except her name and her grade. All year long, I dreamily longed for her, watching her bounce merrily by, hoping for the day that we could speak. I yearned to ask her for a date, but I lacked the courage. Even though I was the super stud athlete of the year, the girls my heart turned to, super stud of the year athlete with the girls, my heart turned to raspberry jello. As the year wound down, one chance remained. The senior prom. Struggling fiercely, I dialed her phone number. After some meaningless talk, I stammered out my request. She actually said yes. Her melodious voice affirmed my existence. And you can imagine what my mind did with that. After the prom dance, I found the perfect place to take her. The Ironman Inn. I don't know this place. That's interesting. The Ironman Inn. While the traditional site for prom dinners was the Highlander, I decided that I couldn't give my newfound love something so trite and dreary. In the secluded curtain booths at the Ironman, we could sit transfixed, not to be interrupted on that glorious first night of the rest of our lives together. After being escorted to our booth, we halted lightly. My heart pounded deeply within me. My attraction grew with each passing moment. Quietly secluded at the Ironman, the hostess romantically drew the curtains. Judy's ravishing face glowed, and her lovely full lips parted to speak. Enchanted, I listened dreamily, only to hear her say, "You know, I don't know how to say this, but I really, really wanted to go to the Highlander. Do you mind if we go there?" Clunk. Although my attraction for her shuddered wildly, chivalry and honor carried the day. Mustering an air of nonchalance, I responded, "Sure, I guess so." Though this wasn't good for our date. Though I knew this wasn't good for our date. At the Highlander, as we stood waiting to be seated, Judy brazenly asked, "Do you mind if I go over to Joel's table for a while?" She left me and spent the rest of the night with him. I ate alone with my thoughts musing. This is why I like football better than girls. Later, she graciously threw me a bone, allowing me the honor of driving Her Highness home. She confided that she hoped all along to find a way to be with Joel that night, since he hadn't asked her to the prom as she had expected. My attractions to Judy died that night. The facts did them in. Initially, I didn't process my attractions to her properly at all. But let me share an example of someone who did process some attractions well. Kirk told me about Patricia, a new woman in his engineering department. When he first saw her, she was giving a presentation to the whole group, and he was hit between the eyes. I was sitting there expecting another boring presentation when up bops Patricia. She was pretty and intelligent, yet she had an airy disposition. She reminded me so much of the girls I knew back in college. My mind kept insisting, I've got to get to know this girl. I've got to get to know this girl. But I was married, and I knew I shouldn't. My mind kept demanding to think about her. She seemed so attractive, but I knew I shouldn't think about her. The next few weeks, I spent little time around her and didn't talk to her unless I absolutely had to. I starved my eyes from her as well. Then I found out that she just had a baby, and all she could do was talk about her new daughter. She plainly loved her husband very much. At this time, my attractions went down, but not quite out. Later, some of the new engineering process she put into place began to take some heavy criticism, and I knew that her disposition wasn't so light and airy after all. She could be downright shrewish. Today, she is just a friend, and I'm not even attracted to her anymore. Before you say anything, I know in my last video I talked about saying just friends. We're just friends. She's just a friend. Careful with that, right? Even in the case of Fred Stoker, even in the case of Stephen Arterburn, they know the difference, okay? And they know they've got to be careful. And in this case, what we're doing is talk about this guy, Kirk. And that was Kirk's words. But Kirk even must be careful. You must be careful, okay, with what your relationship is and what it truly looks like. All right. Starving the attractions. That was a proper processing. Patricia had an entry visa, but not the attractions. She had an entry visa, but the attractions were processed properly and generated few impure thoughts. You see, we can't eliminate attractive women from our lives, but we can shield ourselves from the early attraction phase until they become only friends. Or again, only colleagues. Or how about this? Not even part of your life. If that's okay and that's doable. This proper processing is called starving the attractions. It's a concept that reminds me of an old cheer from my college days at Stanford. If you can't win, cheat. If you can't cheat, stall. If you can't stall, quit. Less than admirable, but funny in its way and somewhat applicable here. Starving the attractions is a stall tactic. You'll see it in detail later, but active stalling waits for the facts that quickly process the relationship beyond the danger zone where it generates no impurity. Most of it what happens if we don't starve the attractions? What if we play with the attractions a little? Won't the passage of time kill the attractions away? Most of the time, yes, but you can't take a chance on that. I say most of the time, no. I'm going to go that direction. Why would I go that direction? The reason I would go that direction is because we know that 54% of men have had an affair, are having an affair, or soon will be having an affair. 52% of women are having an affair. Some are on their way to it, and some will be, right? Some either are having, or will be. So here's the point that I'm trying to make here. The point that I'm trying to make here is you cannot even allow the thoughts into your mind, especially if betrayal has already entered. You've got to make yourself more pure, more ready for battle every single day, because the battle is going to be there. So he said, an improper relationship is not pleasing to God, no matter how innocent it appears. Period. In summary, you have a mind that runs where it wills. It must be tamed. Our best tactic is to starve the attractions, limiting the generation of impure thoughts and the damage that they bring to our marriage relationship. Take the impurity out completely. End it, okay? If there has been infidelity, if there has been betrayal in your marriage, in your relationship, you can't even be friends with a lot of people. You cannot have friends of the opposite sex, especially ones that are not friends of the marriage. Hear me, friends of the marriage, meaning they support your marriage 100% and they are also friends with your spouse. Of utmost importance, you cannot go another direction with that. You can't take that another way. There's no other way to take it. I know it's very blunt, it's very bold, but that means get rid of people in your life that are not friends of your marriage. People who say to you, I just want you to be happy, man. That is your enemy. Get that person out or train them otherwise. Let them know where you stand in purity. I'll see you guys in the next one.